morning to all the aspirants. My name is Sumeet and today as usual we'll start a session on current affairs. This week's topics are covered in the fourth week of October. So let us dissect each and every topic purely from the government exams perspective. So let us deep dive into the subject. The first topic is about Rakkacham Chitkul Wildlife Sanctuary. Now, why is this wildlife sanctuary in news? Please understand, this year, an international bird watchers event was held in this particular wildlife sanctuary, and in that particular event, 15 countries, participants from 15 countries had participated, and they have successfully discovered 35 species of birds in that region, right? That is why this particular topic is in news. Now, since we have understood why it is in news, let us look at some basic history about this particular Rakkacham Chitkul Wildlife Sanctuary. Now, this wildlife sanctuary is present in the state of Himachal Pradesh. It is present in the state of Himachal Pradesh, specifically in the district of Kinnaur district of Himachal Pradesh. Now, this particular wildlife sanctuary is a part of a cold desert ecosystem of the Himalayas. Whenever I use the word cold desert ecosystem, please understand this is specifically in India related only to the region of Himalayas and Trans-Himalayas. Please understand that. Now, what is so special about this particular cold desert ecosystem? Please understand this entire ecosystem is covered by snow-clad or snow-covered mountains. And it has a very rich flora and fauna. When I use the word flora, please understand this is related to plants and trees. And this flora and fauna can be seen in the form of alpine forest. Trees like cedar, pine, etc. are a part of this ecosystem. And when it comes to fauna, this particular area is specifically known for snow leopards, antelopes, saigai, etc. These are the important fauna when compared. This is the important fauna present in this particular ecosystem. I hope everything is clear about this topic. Now let us go to the next topic. The next topic is about quantum echoes algorithm. Please understand this algorithm. This algorithm is a part of quantum mechanics. When I use the word quantum mechanics, please understand this is related to physics, which is specifically dedicated to understand the small particles present in the deepest corners of our existence. Say for example, you won't be able to watch the very small particles which are present in the entire reality in which we live in, and this particular science is related to microparticles. Microparticles is known as quantum physics. Please understand that. Now, it has been recently found that scientists have used quantum computers to execute an quantum echoes algorithm. They have used quantum computers to execute an algorithm with the help of quantum mechanics, and that has been executed. This particular algorithm has been executed with the help of Willow processor. Now, this particular experiment was executed by a very famous multinational company called as Google. So this Google, it has used Willow processor to implement an quantum algorithm using a quantum computers, and this has been executed for the first time in the history of humans, right? So before this, the humans had not executed any algorithm with the use of quantum physics. Now, what has been found by this particular experiment? Please understand, it has been found that quantum computers are very much fast and efficient compared to classical computers. When I use the word classical computers, please understand these computers, they use 0 and 1 bits. They function in bits which are nothing but 0 and 1, whereas quantum computers, they do not use the methods of classical computing. They use the methods of, as I've already told you, qubits. They use qubits in place of bits. It has been found that these quantum computers are very fast and efficient when compared to the classical computers. Please understand that. By what quantum or magnitude are these quantum computers faster? Please understand, it has been found that to execute an algorithm, it is 13,000 times faster than a classical computer. It is 13,000 times faster than the classical computer. So this has been reported in the results of this experiment, which was conducted by the scientists at Google, and that is why you will have to understand this. Now, please understand, there is also another important point which I would like to share with you. This concerns ecos. Now, why are they using this word ecos? I hope you guys are aware that eco is a purely scientific phenomenon. Ecos as in whenever you shout out, if there is a very conducive environment around you, and in that environment, if your voice gets reflected back to you, then that is considered as an echo. Now, similarly, this algorithm, which was designed by the scientists at Google, it used the principle of echoes in it. Say, for example, a quantum bit was passed through a medium, and in that medium, it changed its entire composition in that medium, and slowly what did they do is that they have reversed time at a quantum level. Not exactly reverse the time, but there are some important mathematical calculations which have been involved in reversing the effect of this particular quantum bit. And with its reversal, what it has exhibited is that it has exhibited the principle of echoes, right? And that is the reason why this particular algorithm is called as quantum echoes algorithm, right? It's a bit more complicated, so that is why I've tried to explain it in a very layman terms, right? So I hope everything is clear about this topic. Let us go to the next topic. The next topic is about 23 for 23 initiative. Please understand, recently on 23rd of October, the world celebrated International Day for Snow Leopards. Every year, October 23rd is dedicated to the conservation of snow leopards. Please understand, right? Now, this year there was a campaign called as 23 for 23. Please understand. Now, what is the meaning of this campaign? Please understand, this campaign, it promotes, and in order to honor the conservation efforts of snow leopards, this year a campaign was started which is called as 23 for 23. 23 as in 23rd of October. On 23rd of October, let us all come together and spend 23 minutes of our lives 23 minutes of our lives in executing some physical activities like running, walking, or light exercise, etc. So that is the meaning of this year's initiative. Now, since we've understood what this 23 for 23 initiative is, let us look at some important facts about snow leopards. Why? Because 23rd of October obviously is a day to celebrate the existence and conservation efforts of snow leopards. Please understand, snow leopards are found in cold deserts. They are only found in cold deserts. When I use the word cold deserts, please understand this is always related to ice caps and snow. Please understand, right? In India, however, snow leopards are found in Himalayan and trans-Himalayan region. This Himalayan and trans-Himalayan region, they specifically lie. Their habitat in this Himalayan and trans-Himalayan region is found somewhere between 3,000 meters to 5,000 meters. That you'll have to understand. Please understand, this snow leopard is presently considered as under IUCN list. It is categorized as vulnerable. It is given the status of vulnerable. Now, please understand, these snow leopards are also called as ghosts of Himalayas. One. Why is that? Please understand, that is only due to the fact that they use camouflaging techniques. When I use the word camouflage, you'll have to understand that they kind of hide themselves behind the bushes, and they always prefer this ambush style of attack, as in sudden attacks to attack its prey, right? And that is why they are called as ghosts of Himalayas, which means they are rarely seen, right? The humans have rarely seen the presence of snow leopards, right? You'll have to understand that. Now, these are the important points about snow leopards, right? I hope everything is clear about this topic. Now, please understand, recently there is another point which I would like to share with you. It concerns the snow leopards, right? Recently, the government of India had held a census. For the first time, the government of India had held a census to measure the population of snow leopards. Now, according to that census, it has been reported that 718 snow leopards are present in India. And where are they present? Please understand, they are present in the Union Territory of Ladakh, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the state of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and Arunachal Pradesh. These are the places which have a very high percentage of snow leopard population. And in that, please understand, Ladakh has almost 50% of snow leopards present in India, right? So this is with respect to the census which was recently concluded with respect to the population of snow leopards in India. I hope everything is clear about this topic. Let us go to the next topic. The next topic is about United Nations Day. Now, please understand, when do we celebrate United Nations Day? The United Nations Day is always celebrated on 24th of October. 24th of October every year, United Nations Day. Now, what is this United Nations? Please understand, this United Nations is an international body. It is an intergovernmental body. Intergovernmental body to which there are 193 nation countries. So that makes United Nations an all-inclusive organization. This is the only organization in the world to which majority number of countries are always a member to. Please understand that. Now, this United Nations, when was it established? Please understand, it was first there was a conference which was presided by the heads of state of World War II, the victors or people who were victorious, the countries which were victorious, they are heads of the state. They attended a conference in San Francisco. San Francisco is a city in the country of United States. Now, in this particular conference, all the victorious heads of the state, they came to the conclusion that there has to be an international organization in the world to promote peace and to make sure that situation like World War II will never happen. Right? This was their aim, and in order to implement their aim, they established an organization called as United Nations Organization. That you'll have to understand. Now, this particular conference was attended by many countries, and 50 countries, they gave their assent to this particular agreement. And when these 50 countries, they gave assent to their agreement, assent to the agreement which was passed in San Francisco, the particular agreement came to be implemented on 24th of October, and that is the reason why we celebrate 24th October as United Nations Day. Now, what is the role of United Nations? What are the aims of United Nations organization? Please understand, United Nations organization, the prime aim of United Nations organization is to promote peace amongst various or all the countries of the world. Not only promote peace, but also maintain security of all those countries. Along with that, it also focuses on developmental, especially sustainable development, and along with that, it also focuses on humanitarian measures and human rights. So these are some of the primary aims of United Nations as we know. Right? Okay. So presently, the United Nations organization has together one. United Nations has many organizations under it, and all those organizations, along with United Nations, they have won 12 Nobel Prizes. 12 Nobel Prizes. This is an important fact. I think you might get questions on this in your exams. Now, please understand another fact which I would like to bring to your notice is that many people today criticize United Nations. They say that United Nations is a toothless organization. And I use the word toothless. Please understand what I specifically mean is that the United Nations has failed in stopping some of the major wars which have been going the world over. Say, for example, recently there is a war which is going on between Russia and Ukraine. UN, many critics argue that United Nations, it has done nothing to stop wars which is going on between Russia and Ukraine. And not only that, but there is also another war which was going on between Israel and Palestine. The United Nations has failed to solve even that war, and that is why many major critics have given a very strong criticism of United Nations organization. But we will, as government exams aspirant and as an aspiring bureaucrat, you will have to ask yourself this question: but is it truly worth a statement to make? Right? Is it truly worth a statement to make? Right? No, it is not. Please understand, United Nations, even though if it had failed to solve major wars, but we should not judge UN purely on those scale. United Nations has done some other important work. Say, for example, its organization, say for example, organizations like UNICEF, then United Nations Commission on Refugee, United Nations Commission on Refugee, the World Health Organization, and along with that there are many organizations, right? So all these organizations, what have they done? Together they have achieved some of the most important victories. Say for example, in the field of climate change, without the presence of United Nations, we wouldn't have got the United Nations framework on climate change. And this United Nations framework on climate change has given us important treaties like the Kyoto Protocol, which has successfully, if not ended the malaise of pollution, but has to a certain extent curbed the pollution in our world. And with the conclusion of Kyoto Protocol, we have now implemented Paris Climate Agreement. Agreed that USA is not a part of Paris Climate Agreement, but please understand there is something called as Paris Climate Agreement, whose aim is to reduce the temperatures of up to 2 degrees Celsius, keeping in mind the pre-industrial revolution temperatures. Pre-industrial revolution temperatures. Now this would not have been possible without the presence of United Nations. Please understand. And when people talk about Israel Palestine conflict, Russia Ukraine conflict, please understand United Nations of course has failed to solve these conflicts. But however, many innocents who are at the crossroads in such conflict zones, to them United Nations has ended up being an angel or a fairy, like providing services in the field of medicine, and has also tried to provide food grains in famine affected regions with the help of World Food Program. Along with that, what have they done? Again, it has also taken care of refugees, right? Don't you think all these efforts of United Nations have to some extent tried to resolve the the miseries of people who are in such conflict zones? And that is the reason why you, as a bureaucrat who is preparing for the civil service examinations, you should not come to such sweeping statements saying that United Nations today is a toothless body and it has failed to live up to its own expectations. Please understand that. Let us not judge United Nations based on its ability to stop the wars. Please understand. Please understand. United Nations, the ability of United Nations to stop the war is not alone United Nations responsibility. United Nations is nothing. It is nothing but a reflection. It is a reflection of differences and inequities already present in the world, in the international sphere, in international relationships. Yes, agreed. So what should we do to resolve this problem of United Nations? Please understand it. United Nations should look forward at reformation. When I use the word reformation, what do you understand by that? United Nations need to reform itself in order to deal with its new age problems. See, please understand, the United Nations was formed from the ashes of World War II. It rose like a phoenix from the ashes of World War II. Please understand, during the World War II, there were very few major powers, and they were USA, USSR, France, UK, etc. These were some of the major powers of World War II. But today, do you think these are the only countries that hold power in the world? No, it is not. Today, there are many rising powers like China, India, Brazil, Japan, Germany, South Africa, right? So these are also some of the major powers today in the world who have a very significant say in global politics. Now, when I use the word reformation, please understand, United Nations need to reform itself to reflect the reality of today's world. When I use the word reformation, please understand, the United Nations needs to give power or expand its United Nations Security Council to include many rising powers like India, South Africa, Germany, and Japan. Please understand, today the continent of Africa has no representation in United Nations Security Council. Neither does South America have, and that is the reason why, in order to make the United Nations more inclusive, they will have to reform its United Nations Security Council, and it needs to include many rising powers like India, South Africa, Brazil, Japan, Germany, right? And that is more important, and it is more important from the view of survival of United Nations. Not only survival, but also its success will be improved if it reflects the reality of the existing world order. Right? So these are some of the recommendations which have been given out by experts. I hope everything is clear about this topic. Let us go to the next topic. The next topic is about Central Asian Mammals Initiative. Now, please understand this initiative is a framework, a sub-pact of another major pact called as Conservation on Migratory Species. Now, what does this particular convention do? This convention, it focuses on the conservation of migratory species. When I use the word migratory species, please understand these are animals, species, mammals, all those things which keep on migrating based on the season. They migrate from one place to another. One place to another. And while migrating, they are bound to cross the transnational boundaries which are present in today's world. They are bound to cross transnational boundaries. When I use the word transnational boundaries, please understand international boundaries, right? So in order to help these mammals, these Central Asian mammals who migrate the international borders, and in order to conserve those animals, who migrate, this particular pact has been signed amongst whom? Amongst Central Asian countries. When I use the word Central Asian countries, please understand countries like Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, all are a part of this Central Asian countries, and these countries they have started this initiative to conserve those mammals who are presently migrating between their international borders, and they have specifically dedicated 17 such species which are a part of this particular initiative. Now these 17 species are like Saigai antelope, snow leopard, Persian leopard, etc. Right? I hope you are getting the point. So there are totally 17 mammals who are a part of this initiative. Now please understand, why is this in news? Why are we studying about Central Asian Initiative? Please understand, India recently has joined this initiative. Now India is also a part of this particular Central Asian Mammal Initiative. Right? And that is why we need to understand the important points about this particular initiative. I hope everything is clear about this topic. This brings me to the end of the classes. Thank you so much for being a part of this session. Thank you so much for being a part of Classic Education.